My name's Raiko. I'm a DJ, a so-called producer, when I can. General hip-hop head. The style of music that I like playing is pretty much like a throwback vibe. I came up in the 90s, so I guess my tastes and influences, they all stem from that era. I guess more recently I've started playing like other kind of genres. I like playing a lot of stuff, you know. I'm a fan of music in general, so I can play some funk, some soul, some R&B, yeah, and even a bit of this trap. Yeah, in terms of scratching, it's like, you know, I think things have changed. You know, the more you could scratch and the more you could throw into a live DJ set, you know, that's what kind of set you apart from everyone. I think it's died out a little bit. I know from my personal experience, the looks have changed, you know. It used to be quite acceptable back in the day, and now people are like, yo, I guess the younger guys aren't too accustomed to it, so they kind of give you these funny looks. I incorporate more of the scratching and technical stuff into the live elements, like when I play for someone, or when I'm working with SDTA, which is the band that I'm involved in. I guess that's where I get the best of both, you know, where I can just play sets and be about the music. My pops had like a crazy vinyl collection at some stage. I guess that was just the norm, you know, before CDs. So we always grew up with that, and my reference point to music was always what was available there. I grew quite fond of vinyls and the whole process of it, and, you know, the sound that came from it and everything. And then I saw guys like Reddy D, who just kind of blew my mind when he was like, the way he would manipulate it and stuff, and that got me into the scratching. I was like, as a kid, I never played like sports or anything, you know, so it wasn't like I never kind of, you know, like, I guess as a kid, you're trying to find out who you are from the get, you know, and like that's the whole journey of it and everything. So I'd do things that my friends would do, and, you know, it wasn't really me, and it was only really till I started DJing and stuff. I initially linked up with Ramon, a legendary b-boy from Cape Town, who was linked to like BVK, and that introduced me to Hammer, and introduced me to Reddy D, Azul, and Big Dre, and all of them. They started coming to Joburg from Cape Town and doing these big parties at Reality and that. My folks had moved back to Cape Town, so I moved back as well. Started linking with Hammer, just running around doing like the boogie down nights and stuff, and it started out just wanting to be a part of something. I mean, back then the scene was very different, you know. I mean, I was what, like 19, 20 years old? I played a background role in the whole thing, you know, running around at gigs, and like I said, I was playing opening sets and stuff. But basically, along that journey, just becoming friends with a lot of people who were in the scene. So that was graffiti writers, break dancers, rappers, and other DJs, producers, all of that, you know. So it was this like bubbling scene in Cape Town. I think my first DJ gig as a DJ for acts was Jinai, Grimes, and Lymphatic Tabs had a crew called Abnormal Detail that they were starting. Yeah, we did Grahamstown that year. Very different to how we did it, you know, like sitting on a train with your turntable all the way from Joburg to Grahamstown. It's not a happy thing, you know. I think the next big one after doing all of those and the Abnormal Detail was Ben Sharper through Pioneer Unit. Shout out D-Planet and Spooky. I think that they were like the first real investment into like my music career. They backed us up, they put us onto some equipment. Those years with Ben Sharp, I would say a year and a half or something, but we did something like 70 shows plus in that year. And that was just like tour life. It was like my first time on tour and stuff, so it was pretty rough, but it kind of shaped me up on like, oh cool, how to handle things. I was in the studio with PH. They were working on Cooley's album. I'd never met Cooley before. We went in and I did the cuts, and while we were finishing those cuts off, Cooley and, yeah, I think it was AKA was with him, and they came in. They were quite impressed with what they were hearing. They like sat through the last half of the session. And then they were like, yo, we got this other joint that we're really trying to do. So I took the beat, went home, and that became Swada, the cuts that I did on that. And then they had asked me to come full-time on with Cooley, which was great. I mean, we did some really cool shows. I can't even list all the stuff we did with it, you know. You can go see what Cooley did that year. and the bald white guy next to him was me. Yeah, at the moment where I'm at now, I'm lucky enough to get a gig with Tumi, Stogie T as he's called now. I've always been a fan of Tumi, so being able to work with him is really cool. It's always nice where you can get those gigs where you can gel with the music as well. And STTA, which is formed just friends that I've made along the way. That whole STTA formed pretty much from like a lot of us in there work for a lot of bands. We were putting so much input into these shows and sometimes not even getting a mention back, you know. So we were like, oh, we could also be these kind of artists, you know. Not for the fame or anything, but like we don't have to answer to anyone. We get the freedom to do what we want. So it's myself, Kada, J-Star, Pastor Abdul, which is a great drummer, and then our other homie Jonique, who acts as like a hype man and also works the machines. So yeah, it's called STTA, which stands for Sampling Through the Ages, and it's really just a DJ set on steroids. The basis of it is drums with Josh, that's his thing, you know, and our other side of it, Kada and myself, is the DJ aspect. So it's really just a blend of that. We're working on an EP at the moment, which will be a whole lot of original music. But if you're catching us live, it's live remixing, chopping, pretty much our own versions, mashups, all of that, you know, on a live stage. STTA, check him out. What's good? Raiko, my man, you're watching Spindle.